That's just how my mind works. It's slow, but bear with it. But I can't recall any book that I've read that has a dream sequence. If we leave Twilight, of course. Hello, welcome back. I'm Janki and welcome to another video. And today's video is a book tag. This book tag is called In or Out book tag, and it was created by a fellow booktuber called Rick MacDonnell. So basically, In or Out book tag lists down many tropes, some classic tropes, and some bookish things. And I'll have to answer by saying whether I'm in or out, meaning whether I like those or I don't. So yeah, let us begin. So the first trope is reading the last page of the book first. And I'm absolutely out of this because why would I do that, first of all? And another thing I've noticed is actually the last page doesn't reveal much about the book or what the course the book is going to take, because there's no relevant information regarding that. But it might happen that I get a spoiler and I don't want to know what's gonna happen next. Another trope is dream sequences. I'm not a big fan of it, so I'd say I'm out of it. I can't recall any book that I've read that has a dream sequence in it, and if I think it through, I wouldn't like to read a book that has a very elaborated dream sequence, which I kind of believe is supposed to have been the plot and then turns out to be a dream. I don't want to read about that. No. Another trope is enemies to lovers, and I'm in for it because I love to read about the simmering angst and tension between the characters. So yeah, definitely up for it. Another trope is love triangles. I'm trying to play diplomatic here, and most of the answers I give I think are going to be like that, but I'll try to come to a conclusion by the end of it. Love triangles are a hit or miss for me because if I get to know in the beginning who's gonna end up with whom, I don't want to read about it. There should be like equal competition between the two people for the third person, and if that's done well, I'm in for it. So I'll say I'm in for it for now. Another thing is cracked spines. Now, I don't have any problem with the cracked spine. Like, not that I'll do it on purpose, but I can have a book that has a cracked spine, so I'm in. Another trope is back to small town. I absolutely love this, so I'm definitely in. I've read so many books, and I think that's mostly thrillers or mystery that have back to small town thing. Few of the books that I can remember at the top of my mind are um what was The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter, and then Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. Many. I absolutely love the trajectory, the dynamic of the character and the place they live in and how they're written. So yeah, I absolutely am in. Another trope is monsters are regular people. Now this is very particular to fantasy. I wouldn't want to believe or read any description in the book that would convince me that monsters are just like human race. So I'm out of it. Another thing is no paragraph breaks, and I'm out of it because it makes the reading process a little laborious. I would feel as if I haven't read anything, and for most people, especially for the people who are reading for first time or are new readers, they may get disheartened, and we don't want that. So I'm out. Another trope is multi-generational sagas. I am always up for it. I like a good family multi-generational saga. I love it. I live for it. Even if it's not family based, I would love to read about it. And recently I read Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna, and it is also a multi-generational saga, and I love it. Another thing is rereading. Now, I haven't reread any of my books, so for now I'll say I'm out of it. Another trope is artificial intelligence. I'm not a science girl. I usually won't like reading about artificial intelligence, but if you make the artificial intelligence comprehensible to people like me, who is a non-science person, I would love to read about it, but I'm again trying to be diplomatic here. You notice that. So, my brain inclines towards out. I'm out of this trope. Another thing is drop caps. So I did not know what did this mean, so I googled it. And drop caps means when the first line of the book, the first letter of it is written in a larger font size, So that is called the drop cap. Maybe to like grab the reader's attention or something like that. Doesn't do much for me. So I'm fine either way. So I'll say out because there is no such need for it. Another trope is happy ending, and who wouldn't want a happy ending? I would love to read about it. I always want in my books a happy ending. So yeah, I mean, another trope is plot points that converge only at the end. Um, and to be really honest, I did not ever give this much thought to a book. So now that I'm thinking about it, I'm fine with it because I think most of the mystery thrillers I read, most of their plots converge at the end, and I don't have any problem with it, so I'm in it. Another trope is detailed magic system. So the last detailed magic system book I read was Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett. But do I enjoy reading it? I would say not so much. The magic system, however good it is, I do not want it detailed out to me. Maybe throughout the story, if it expands, that's alright, but I wouldn't want all the info dump right at one place or a magic system so intricate that I cannot follow what's happening later in the book. So, out. Another trope is classic fantasy races. The first young adult fantasy series I read was Mortal Instruments, and if you've read it, you know that there are many races there, and I kind of liked reading that. So, I'm in for it. It gives the books a slightly upper edge, so yeah, I'm in for it. Another trope is unreliable narrators, and I'm in it. So initially, I did not know how to gauge who's the unreliable narrator, but I still don't know actually. So I still don't know how should I define unreliable characters, but if I change it a little, I like reading the story from the perspective of someone whom I cannot decide upon is reliable or not, if that makes sense. So yes, I'm in it. Another trope is evil protagonist. I do not really like it because either you are telling me that the protagonist by the end of the story becomes villain, or you are telling me that we are rooting for a person who is not the protagonist, is the villain, but people like him or her more than the protagonist. So they name him the protagonist. Yeah, that's just how my mind works. It's slow, but bear with it. The first character that popped into my head right now was Darkling. I know that it doesn't really fit into this category. He wasn't the protagonist, but people treated him like a protagonist and like were rooting for him. And I couldn't understand that. So yeah, I'm out of it. Another trope is the chosen one. I enjoy reading about it, so I'm definitely in. I'll not give it much thought. Yeah, I'm in. Harry Potter. Clary Frey from Mortal Instruments series. Then we have Rin from the Poppy War. And the book I'm currently reading, City of Brass, I think it also has a chosen one. Another trope is when the protagonist dies. Now, I have read, I guess, one or two books where the protagonist dies. No, many books, sorry. I was just thinking fantasy books, but no, there are other books where the protagonist dies. And although it's very messy for my heart, but I love it. I just love it. I don't know how you guys will be judging me now, but I am in. Another trope is really long chapters. I'm out of it. It for me, I need to have the illusion that I'm reading faster, so I need to have shorter chapters. Also, for people who are reading for the first time, if you are very particular about the book you're picking, choose books with shorter chapters. Helps create that illusion that you are reading faster. Another thing is French flaps. It is another thing that I had to look up. I did not know what this means, but I know now, and I'll show you what it means. So, this is a French flap, and I like it, so I'm in. Another thing is Deckled Edges. I do not own any book that have deckled edges, but I wouldn't mind one, so yeah, I'm in. Another thing is signed copies by the author. So, a very unfortunate thing is that the authors I've read from are mostly not Indian. So, I did not get any chance of having a book signed, nor am I so lucky that I get a book that has a surprise author sign in it. For me, I'd love to have a signed copy from the author, but I don't have. So either ways, I'm fine. But if I have to answer, I would want one. Yes, I mean, another thing is dog earring pages. I am out. I do not like doing it, although I'm not very averse to it because I'm the person who writes with pen in the book. So yeah, I'm out of it. And last thing is chapter titles instead of chapter numbers. And I find no difference. So yes, I'm good to go. I'm in it. Yes, those were all the prompts we had. I had fun answering them, and I hope if you like the video, you like, share, subscribe, and comment. And if you are another fellow booktuber, feel free to carry this tag forward, and don't forget to give credit to the original tag maker, which I'll do in the description box below. So yeah, that was all for today. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.